Hello once again and welcome to Health Scan on the Andalus television. Hello Gerard.
Hello, it's good to be back again. We have some lovely things to discuss today.
Yes. I hope we have enough time this time. We were talking about asthma, Gerard. I know we talked about it in our previous program. But there are lots of people that suffer from asthma. There are about 3.5 million person in the UK suffers from asthma, and one of every 5 child that suffer from asthma. Can you tell us more about it, Gerard?
Yes, it's something I've had an awful lot of success with, asthma, over the years. I normally either cure it completely or 80 or 90%. The sprays can and quite often do create their own problems, the steroid sprays. It's a sad fact that just in the UK alone there's 3.5 million people suffering with asthma. And 1 in 5, as you say, 1 in 5,
1 in 5
are children.
Yes.
It's almost a crime that this should be allowed to go on, really.
Yes.
When there is, in most cases, a very simple solution. And that is very much what we do. The solution is in checking for food intolerance.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting that asthma is very much a Western problem. In the third world, there is almost no asthma. So you think that these so-called specialists would look at these things and wonder and ask themselves why? Well, firstly, the third world people don't eat the range of foods that we eat. They certainly don't eat the sugar things and the yeast-based things, which can and do often cause major problems with asthma, or create a problem in the first place. The foods are different. This must be the first place to look. And there are so many examples of me having cured asthma. Thousands of people around the world have become healthy as a result of following this food intolerance where asthma is concerned. And again, the evidence is there for everybody. There's nobody can question what I'm saying because we have the evidence. If they want,
You cured
I'm
so
happy,
many cases. Yeah.
I'm proud. I'm quite happy for anybody to check my words. The evidence is there. I have nothing that I want to hide from anybody. The research can be done and has been done. I've had so much in the way of coverage from national newspapers, the media in general. Andalus television. We wouldn't be doing this series if they didn't know what I do actually worked. They want to help you, their viewers, to get healthy, and you have to help them. You have to get the people interested to contact us, to give us back the information, and to watch these programs. Because if people don't take the initiative and actually get on and do something about this, then nothing's ever going to happen.
That's right.
Because if they're waiting for the drug companies to change the world of medicine, they'll be waiting an awful long time.
We'll never change it.
Yeah. Or the doctors, in many cases. Yes. In my experience with doctors, I found that, and it's not a true statement to say that they're all tarred with the same brush. They're not. There's some fantastic doctors out there. But I found the older doctors tend to keep wanting to do what they've been doing. They don't want to change anything. They don't want to learn new stuff. They want to just keep writing prescriptions and making the money that they make. And in many cases, there will be doctors who prefer you are unhealthy. If you are unhealthy, then they make money. If you're healthy, they don't make any money. Doctors in China don't get paid if you, the patient, are unhealthy. Why is it in the Western world that the doctors make more money if you're unhealthy? It's crazy. The doctor's supposed to keep you healthy.
That's right. Yes.
So if you're not healthy, the doctor shouldn't get any money. True, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. But they still have other things to cure, other things to take care of.
Of course, and they have lots of patients to deal with. And they're not gods. They're not, they're not superhuman. And they do their best in so many cases. But as I've said on so many programs, their best is not good enough in most cases, and their training is inadequate because they are taught to prescribe medication. Well, they shouldn't be prescribing medication if they can remove the cause of the problem.
Exactly.
Because if you haven't got you don't create the problem, you haven't got the problem, so you don't need the medication.
Yeah, that's why we say they should use your technology.
Exactly, and they will. In the years to come, our children, our grandchildren will demand this technology Because, and there's nobody, there's no president, there's no ruler of any country that can refuse to give it to the people. If they say, well, look, I can be cured by this technology without drugs, or I've got to spend a life of taking drugs and carry on with the problem. How can they justify this one? They can't.
Yes.
It's so simple,
Yes.
really. And that day will come. But the more that you do, the viewers out there, you do get involved with this, demand to have it, and then ask the so-called people that run the medical world why you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm?
Yes.
It's your interests, your families, your grandchildren. They're the ones that will benefit.
Yes, that's
So do
right.
it for them.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes. I think you have a letter to read.
I have.
Gerard,
I
yes.
have. Again, letters are
Yes.
vitally important because it gives you some idea of the feedback that we're getting. And we have got so many that it would be impossible to even begin to think about reading too many, but I'll read one. This is a person with asthma. It has been 2 years since my first visit to HealthScan. My life has progressed at such speed that I have barely had time to catch my breath. 2 years ago, I had difficulty taking a breath. She could hardly breathe, this lady, 2 years before the scan. I was in so much pain, she says. I was weak and in terrible discomfort. Doctors offered me no explanation or treatment. She was just 25 years old. She goes on to say that she's now happily married and she runs a thriving business. She runs a nursery with 50 children and works about 50, 60 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
She could hardly breathe 2 years before. And doctors didn't have any idea what was causing the problem. They knew she had asthma, but they couldn't cure it.
Yes, that's right.
Basically, she closes the letter by saying, without this technology and dedication that Gerard offers at HealthScan, I suspect that my life would not have progressed as it has, simply because I would still be waiting for answers from conventional medicine.
Yeah.
So this is typical of what we get.
Yes.
This is typical of, people have tried conventional medicine. Every single one of the people I've ever treated, of the 10,000 people I've cured, they've all been through conventional medicine.
It
And
doesn't
fine,
work.
go to conventional medicine, see if they can cure you. But
Doesn't
when they
work,
don't,
yeah.
then look at this. Because you pay your taxes to your doctors for their expert advice, so go and get it. If they don't cure you, then consider this. And this is where 80% of health problems are cured, and the cause is found, so we remove the cause. Simple, really.
Very simple. 23 million in the United States suffer from migraines, and 92% of them are females. Why is that? Can you explain that?
23 million people suffer with
Yes.
migraine in the USA.
Yes.
23 million, that's a lot of people.
Lots of
Mm.
people, yeah. And
Yes.
92% are
Female.
females, yeah.
I've always
Yes.
wondered about that one.
Yeah, why?
Maybe it was just the females that filled the forms in. I don't know. Reported back. No, I think, to be honest, I think females are a bit more, not complicated, it's the wrong word, but their chemistry is more active. It's changing every month. It changes a lot, obviously, as you go through life. Probably a lot more than a man's does. So if you are going to get a problem in any way, shape or form, then it's probably more likely to happen with a female, because we're talking chemistry here when we're talking about foods and drugs called chicken or cucumber or whatever it happened to be. So chemistry is very complicated at the best of times in the body, but the ladies tends to move around a little bit more. But a migraine is the simplest thing in the world to deal with. I don't know why there are 23 million people out there
It's a lot.
with migraine, in
Yes.
America that is.
Yes,
So
in the States.
how many are there in the world?
Only in the States, yeah. That's a lot.
There's a lot of money being made out of people with migraine by the people who run the organisations for migraine sufferers.
I see.
So that could be one angle.
Yes.
And most of these people are trying to do their best, I hope. They should be, because that's
Yes.
why they set these organisations up, to help people with migraine.
Yes.
But they also make a lot of money from the people that join them as
Yes.
members. So there could be some possible financial angles there as well. And I think in the perfect world, we could say there isn't, but I'm sure
Yes.
there are people who run such organisations that like to make money
Yes.
rather than cure people.
Yes.
These organisations are generally speaking charity organisations, which means they don't have to pay taxes.
I see. Yes.
And they will get grants from the government in so many cases for
Yes.
setting up these organisations. So there are many financial rewards to be had from setting these things up.
Yes.
But what they should be doing is looking for the answers, looking for the cure to help you, the person with migraine, who's a member of their association, for example, rather than sending out leaflets and bits and pieces that will not, more often not get you to spend money. The cure is food intolerance. I've cured, I would not be wrong in saying, thousands of people over the years with headaches and migraines by looking at the cause of the problem. The food is the cause. It's simple. I've actually proved this to a migraine organisation. I've done clinical trials for this particular organisation, and I've cured the people that I tested. And all of a sudden I don't hear any more from them. They're not interested. They're not interested in talking to me anymore. So I become a threat to their business. That's the only way I can look at it, because if what I do cures people, they should be interested, no? So think about it. You know, not everything is set up for your benefit, as it would appear to be when you join these things. I'm not saying everybody's wrong and everybody's out there to make money out of people who are ill. That would be wrong to do that. Most people, I hope, have got their heart in the right place and trying to do their best. But the answer is simple. It's food intolerance. So if you want to get rid of your migraine, call me. All right? And we'll sort that one out for you very quickly.
9 million people suffer from hay fever in the UK. That's a lot as well.
Again, there's organisations set up for all these things. Hay fever is another one. Anything that goes wrong with people in the way of health problems, well, you can sell them products, you can sell them medication, and you can make a lot of money doing that. So the more of these people you can get, the more money you can make. And things that go on and on, like hay fever, for example, that come round every year. Well, if the products that they sell you actually cured you, then they wouldn't have any business next year, because you wouldn't have hay fever. Interesting, isn't it? They're not designed to cure you, I believe, in so many ways, because it's like a drug company. They wouldn't want to cure people from a business point of view. They would go out of business if they cured everybody, or sent out drugs that cured migraines and eczemas and asthmas, and they'd go out of business.
There are lots of medication for hay fever to calm it down, you know, that's it.
Well, that's all it does. In most cases, that's all it does. In some cases, of course, it can even make it worse, I guess. If you have too much of these things like steroids, antibiotics, and so on. In some cases, it will make it worse. It might cure it for a week, but it'll bring it back even worse. But then you need stronger medication for that problem. And it goes on and on and on. If medicine cured people, then they'd be cured and they wouldn't need any more. So it doesn't cure people. It's as simple as that. What they need to be cured is to find the cause of the problem. And again, 9 million people in the UK suffer with hay fever. 9 million people. It's a simple problem to deal with. It's a yeast problem combined with a nervous system problem. The brain sending out wrong signals to the nasal passages to become inflamed. The nerve endings in the nose become sensitive and become inflamed. And then the yeast fungus live in there. Warm, moist areas. Yeast loves warm, moist areas. It loves nostrils and nasal passages. And the yeast just irritates these sensitive nerve endings. And then you get the chemicals from the crops that grow, the pollens and the trees, and it blows in the wind in the spring. And they go up, and they're quite strong, these chemicals, and they aggravate the sensitive nerve endings even more. So you're sneezing, and you're off, you're going. And then you pull a tissue from a box, and you blow your nose, and the dust from the tissue goes up your nose, and makes you sneeze even more. And then you need another tissue. You get through a lot of tissues.
I see in your scan, you test for tissues as well.
Oh yeah, because you know, not only is it a drug when it goes into your body, the dust that comes from a tissue, but it's also going to irritate sensitive nerve endings. So any dust going up, the first thing you do with a tissue is pull it from the box and put it to your nose and your mouth.
That's right.
And if you hold a tissue up in a beam of sunlight, you'll see lots of dust coming off it. Well, that's exactly what goes up your nose and in your eyes and in your throat. And God, if you've got asthma, that's just what you need.
So what they should use then?
Well, you can get impregnated tissues. Impregnated tissues. They are impregnated with things like balm and lanolin. They're creamy, silky smooth. There's not so much dust coming off them. They're well worth investing in. the very worst, if you have a very bad condition, we'll just use a normal cloth handkerchief. Not very nice these days, but use it, you know, until the condition improves. Dust coming off anything, especially tissues, is a nasty thing.
Yes.
A nasty thing for anybody with nasal and respiratory problems or eye problems, because the dust goes into your eyes as well.
That's right.
Crazy world,
yeah,
eh?
That's right. We have an email from for gout from Helmi from Damascus. I'm going to read it. I am in my late 40s. I watch your interesting program every week. I suffer from gout and high blood pressure. I would like to have a food intolerance test in the near future. But meanwhile, can you give me some advice? Thank you.
Yes, I can. Gout is just muscle contraction, the locking of the muscles, whether it's in the leg, which it generally is, or anywhere, quite frankly. Cramp is another word almost for gout. It's a similar thing. It's almost identical in terms of what's causing it. It's caused by the brain sending out a wrong signal down a wire called a nerve, and it causes the muscle to contract and become locked. I read a letter way back in one of the earlier programs from a man who had gout, severe gout. He couldn't walk, he couldn't even run, he couldn't get out of the house. He had a business, he was running his own business. The business was ready for collapse, and it was a successful business that he'd built up over many, many years. And he had severe gout, and he was on medication, as so many people are. I cured him. I read this letter out. Some of you will remember. I cured him on scan, and his whole life just took off. His whole life changed completely, and he was healthy. And he was severe gout. It's a very, very, very painful condition, and it's so simple to deal with. It really is so simple to deal with. Again, like all the other things we do, just find the cause of the problem, a health scan. We could send a signal for the drug called chicken or banana to your brain, and we can measure your brain's acceptance of that signal. If your brain doesn't want the signal, then your brain, like any computer, will send out a bad signal. And if that runs down to your muscles in your leg, it'll lock up and cramp and gout occur. A couple of things to avoid if you are suffering with gout. And by the way, I have emailed back to just about everybody now. I've spent the last 2 nights sitting up, emailing back and faxing back in some cases. Thank you very much for your letters and your emails and your phone calls. We've had some interesting phone calls coming in. Please keep them coming, because that's the only way forward. Don't stop. Keep it going, build it up, get more people involved in this. Just to finish off on gout, if I may, gout will be made worse by certain foods, certain products like salt. Salt conducts electricity in the nervous system. Salt will make any signal worse in the nervous system. Salt will magnify problems in the nervous system. Salt conducts electricity, whether it's inside your body or outside your body. And it will make gout worse. It will make anything worse, but especially it seems to be nasty, and even cause gout to occur in the first place. Salt can be a nasty thing. We've all seen people pouring salt on their food before they even taste it. It's crazy, because they're hooked on the salt. They're not interested in the food, they're interested in the salt. And spooning it in. Salt will send the brain some nasty signals in most cases, or even if it doesn't, it'll make signals worse that are bad, from chicken or cucumber. I keep saying these things, but that's basically anything. It'll magnify those signals. Potatoes, another one that causes a lot of gout in my experience, potatoes. And that would include vodka. For some of you may be drinking alcohol, but that would include vodka, because vodka is made from potatoes. Mint is one of the biggest causes of gout in my experience, and I have a lot of experience in curing people. Mint toothpaste, for example, mint sweets, chewing gum, anything to do with mint, you should be avoiding it as much as you possibly can. It's not a very friendly product, certainly as far as the brain is concerned. It doesn't like it very much. So you'll find, if you follow my advice, that everything will certainly be a lot better. Hopefully we can cure that gout with just that little bit of advice. If you need any more, contact me on the website.
Okay. There are 6 million people, they suffer from eczema in the UK. That's a lot as well. Yes.
Yeah, and we haven't just made up these figures, by the way. These have come off the BBC website. So I guess we can believe them. And even they may be low, these numbers. They can only show us what they know. It may be there's a lot more people that aren't registered with eczema,
Yes.
whether it's at hospitals or
Yes.
eczema organisations.
Yes.
You remember we talked about the Migraine Association, how they have lots of members and they make lots of
Right.
money by people sending in annual fees and buying products and so on.
Right.
Well, it's the same with the eczema people. They have this
Yes.
many. There are so many eczema organisations. Just look on the website, look on the internet, and put the word eczema in and see what comes up. It'll frighten you how many people there are out there making money out of people that are suffering with eczema. You wouldn't even mind giving them money if they cured you. But people are there for year after year after year. So how do they get? They're not actually getting cured. They're just being sold different products. In so many cases. I've talked to people with eczema, groups of people with eczema over the years. I give talks. I give talks to large groups of people, hundreds, in some cases thousands of people.
Yes.
I will sit and talk for hours and let people ask me questions, and I will answer those questions. I will take them through every health problem that I deal with and explain why it happens, how I cure it, how I have cured it, and show them the evidence. So if there's anybody out there that would like me to do that, certainly in front of large groups, the bigger the better, then contact me. Please contact me, because I'm eager to do these things. I want to get the message out to people that what we do here is actually the future, is the way forward, and the way to be healthy. So do your bit, as I keep saying, get in touch. We can sit here talking all day, but if you don't do your bit, we're not going to go anywhere.
Okay. We have 40 million working day lost in a year, every year, for stress, due to stress in the UK. How is that?
40 million working days lost every day, every year.
That's a lot.
40 million days of work lost every year due to a condition called stress. It's a frightening thought. I did a quick calculation. It's basically about 130 years of work lost every year. One person could be off work for weeks or months with stress. So this is how the days add up. And you get two people, it could be 1,000 hours between the two people. So 40 million hours are lost because people are stressed. Isn't that ridiculous? Stress is the easiest thing in the world to deal with. I have done this so many hundreds and maybe even thousands of times over this, because stress is something that everybody gets if the brain doesn't work very well. It becomes difficult to cope with the problems of life, the problems that are coming at you in different directions. Whether it's the children or the work or the pressures at home or whatever. If you don't feel good in your brain, then how can you cope with the problems that come at you? You become more and more uptight, stressed. There's lots of words you can use. But the brain isn't working very well because you've poisoned it. You've poisoned it with a drug called food. Right. It'll give you stress just the same as it gives you migraine or eczema or asthma. Many of you will have had days where you felt really good. You've woken up and you felt $1 million and you really got up and you've had a fantastic day and everything's gone right and you feel good and you think, why can't I feel like this every day? Why do I just get one day like this or two and then I go back to feeling terrible again? It's very simple. You've not poisoned your brain that day in the way that you did the other days, and your brain's actually working better. It's that simple. You do not get stressed when you don't poison your brain. You don't need drugs, just stop poisoning your brain.
Right. I have an email for stress as well. It says, thank you for your wonderful program. It certainly taught me a lot about health problems and how easy is it to become healthy. I have been on antidepressants for several years, while doctors have been trying to treat me for stress. Could it be something so simple as food intolerance that is causing my problem? Please help, it says in capital letters, as doctors do not seem to have the answers.
Again, this is just one example of how the brain is being poisoned. The doctors don't have the answers.
Yeah, they can't.
And if they did, then everybody would be healthy. We wouldn't be losing 40 million working days.
Exactly, yeah.
And the answer is testing for food intolerance. if you look up here for the answer, you'll find it every time. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, we have constipation. That's a problem of lots of people as well.
I think we're going to have to keep that one for next time as well.
Oh,
I think we've
okay.
run out of time one more time. You're so involved in what we do that it's hard to keep
Yes,
up
I'm
with it.
thinking it goes.
That's okay.
It passes
I know,
so quickly.
it's a fascinating thing
Yeah.
to talk about health. And people do that, whether you're in the studio, whether you're around a table having a meal,
Yes.
socialising, it always comes back to health.
Yes.
And people like to know how they can become healthy.
Yes.
So
Yes,
that's
yes.
good. It's nice, you know,
We
you get so
don't get-
involved in it.
We don't get to finish our program.
That's okay. We've got
Well,
another
here
one
we are.
next week.
Thank you very much, Gerard. Thank you very much for you. Thank you for being
you.
with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.